the Rose Parade. Wouldn't you know it, the Rose Parade? And we'll radio it, the streets are cleared, the flowers are fun.
And the float from Baskin-Robbins is beginning to run.
Oh, it's the Rose Parade. The crowd is excited, the Rose Parade. And you weren't invited, so sit in your chair. Just listen and stare. There's nothing else to do, so here's the Rose Parade.
Good morning. If you're watching television, you can see that the parade indeed has been rained out. So from here, we'll say
we're running footage of last year's parade. Hopefully we have the whole thing.
Actually, the parade hasn't been rained out.
No.
It was going to be a very, very serious problem if it had been, because the rest of the year in Pasadena is all filled up, so they would have had a double-header parade next year.
And they would have had to pay us anyway.
And nobody likes that.
A twilight double-header parade.
But anyway, we'd like to say good morning, and we'd like to take you, if we could, a little background information, what we refer to as a mini documentary of the Rose Parade. I'm sure you've seen just about enough maxi documentaries.
It's impossible to see the parade without having this kind of background on it. So now,
the history.
The history. I was going to say that. Thank you, Dave.
Grim clouds of foreboding hovered over the San Gabriel Valley in the year of 1890. Two stock market panics had already gripped the country in the preceding quarter century, as Churchill once observed, perhaps the most painful place to be gripped. Two men huddled in the turret of a small U-boat moored to the corner of Fair Oaks Avenue and Colorado Boulevard, in a community racked by anonymity which some called Pasadena. The men were Charles Holder and R.K. Rollin. They had conceived an ingenious plan whereby people would be compelled to pass down the middle of the boulevard in great number, riding upon flowered vehicles. Due to their superior organization, spearheaded by the Rose Marshals, the so-called Pink Shirts, the Rollin-Holder plan, codenamed Tournament of Roses, soon let loose a prairie fire of good feeling. In 100 guarded offices, behind 78 closed doors, the plenipotentiaries of a score of neighboring municipalities hung their heads. Then, suddenly, pooch. With the speed of a twin razor blade, the Tournament of Roses operation had outflanked the rapidly dwindling forces of the underground, the so-called undershirts. In the mid-1920s, foreign states and nations began sending emissaries in the form of flowered vehicles to pay court to this new world power. Here is Eva Braun.
I do not recall ever having been in Pasadena.
No,
that was Himmler.
The 30s brought prosperity and the illusion of the 40s just ahead. And as the battered century crept past halfway, squadrons of earth movers, working according to a plan known only to residents within a 100-mile radius, constructed a monumental bowl whose sole purpose was to house a football game and monthly swap meet. The parade, as General Hersheybar once put it, would have been twice the success had it been half the fuss. History teaches us that history is no teacher. So, a parade born in mystery, whelped in the conflict of civic allegiances and flowered vehicles, and weaned on the mush of fiscal oomph, replicates itself in the nation's living rooms year after year. Of the men who went and never returned, it can only be said they got lost.
Well, that's what's behind us. Now let's look ahead. Fellas, it's kind of cloudy this morning. It's cloudy.
It's a nasty day. Let's not beat around the bush, but
it's so cold. I was walking down the street a few minutes ago. I saw a witch wearing a flannel brassiere.
Oh, Harry, you would.
We're sitting at the corner of Colorado Boulevard and Orange Grove. Right in front of us, on the what would be the pedestrian crossing, except they won't let pedestrians cross, are 8 uniformed motorcycle officers arrayed in a very sloppy line.
One is yawning.
Numbers 3 and 4 are are kind of in the front of the group, and then 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 are...
Oh, they're all kind of moving forward now.
It's so funny. You hear people say, when you really need 8 cops on motorcycles in the pedestrian walk, you can never find them. But here they are.
Go to a parade, I tell them.
Call them a liar.
Go to a parade.
Across the street from us right now, a bunch of gentlemen in white coats.
I noticed.
What do they represent, Harry?
It represents patronize your dry cleaners regularly. These are officials from the Tournament of Roses. It's a tradition in Pasadena that the guys wear white suits.
Do you suppose this is the only time they ever wear these suits? Is this particular?
And white shoes. Look at that. And with red ties.
John Lennon used to dress that way.
That's right, in the bag.
Late 60s.
And they are walking up and down the street, looking at their watches, trying to determine when to start this parade.
Well, this is the only time of the year these guys get to talk back to cops.
If you time of the year, these guys get to talk to each other, actually.
Could we ask for a more beautiful day, guys?
Oh, yeah. No, it's
I
actually nice here. They instead of the Goodyear blimp this year, they filled Gary Coleman with gas, and he's floating about
put too much
200 feet above us. And that's nice and reassuring. We are honored this year in the booth. We have what I think is probably the largest radio booth at the Rose Parade, and many people who come and drop by and help us out with this, because it's definitely not a 3-man job.
No, I'm not playing today.
And
here he is.
The fans recognize him.
Strictly as a performer.
He's the former 8th round draft pick of the New York Jets. And
hi, Harry.
This is the first year that probably the Jets could have used you. Denver Devereaux Jr.
Denver Devereaux Jr., yes.
How are you, Denver?
I'm fine. I'm very busy. Thank the Lord. I've been extremely busy.
What have you been doing? I mean,
I just finished wrapping the end of a film, of a science fiction film.
Now, when you say wrapping, you don't mean talking about it. You mean wrapping.
Finishing up with it. It's called Star Wash.
What is it about? Can you fill us in a little bit on the plot?
It's about an intergalactic space car wash. Well, it's a spaceship wash, and it's not only fine entertainment, but it's a really good deal, because for $15. Like they wash the whole spaceship,
the whole capsule,
in the plot, not the people would have to.
No, the movie will be whatever, wherever it might open at the Shotgun Theaters is what they call
Shotgun Showcase.
Shotgun Showcase.
Now listen, this is the judge's special trophy, Denver.
Star Wash,
and maybe you could just describe this float.
Was this one here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's a big. Oh, you mean from the book?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is something for everyone. Through the eyes of a child, the sun-kissed growers remind us of how all sports heroes must have been like our 2 friends here on the way to the park. In a homemade jalopy carved out of a citrus crate, these 2 youngsters bring everything from bats to tennis rackets just to see where their athletic abilities are.
Okay, I get the plot, but what's the float made of? This is the part I think most people
made out of corn husks with seed and petal labels, eucalyptus bark, pampas and hyacinth root. The hat was Vanda orchids, of course.
What is the mallet made of?
The mallet? It was the eucalyptus bark. I mentioned it.
How do you make a eucalyptus bark, then?
Take away his little nightgown.
Very carefully.
Okay. Denver Devereaux Jr. Star Wash, soon in theaters everywhere.
I think it's maybe time we switched away, perhaps, to our man on the field, Kurt Jaddy.
He's not with us in the booth this year. Maybe you should explain that, Dave.
Kurt usually sits with us in the booth. And this year, we gave him a new challenge. He's going to be hosting the Rose Parade, much like he did with the World Series. So why don't we switch to Kurt now, who's out hosting on the street, watching the parade. Kurt?
What do you mean they got no ice? The judge at the Rose Parade is no different from the referee or the umpire. Everybody thinks he's a bum. If that's true, I'm standing next to the best-looking bum in Pasadena. She's one of the judges of this year's parade and editor-in-chief of Brides magazine, Miss Barbara Tober. Barbara, what's the one thing you look for in a winning float?
Kurt, it's hard to describe it well. I suppose what I look for is arrangement and organization in floats and in marriage.
Barbara, you ever get tired of looking at flowers?
No, I don't think any woman worth her sex could ever really tire of flowers. But I think it'll be a good 3 or 4 days before I'm not sick of them again.
Well, there's no shortage of them here. And now back to the booth.
Yeah. The theme of the parade
it's early
this year.
at Denver. Don't worry about it. We'll
the
get
theme
to
of the parade this year
Yeah.
is the good life. And boy, what a better place to enjoy the good life than sitting on a street corner at 8:30 Saturday morning.
I wonder how they come up
Pasadena.
with these themes.
It was a contest.
Yeah.
They had a contest to select the
And
theme.
did the song win? Or
The
what was
Bad
it?
Life was an entry.
That finished third, according to my program.
The Mediocre Life. Mediocre Life came in second, and the Good Life won. Interesting sidelight. We interviewed for the second consecutive year a gentleman who knows everything there is to know about the timing and the pacing of this Rose Parade, the official timer of the Tournament of Roses.
What's your name again?
Gene Moscarrett.
We talked to you last year, Gene.
Right, and I want to introduce the co-timer this year, Al Lowe. Al?
It looks like I'll be the timer this year and the successor for next year, Al Lowe.
You're turning over the clock to Al after this parade?
Yeah, we run the duty every 2 years and break a new man in on the second year.
I see. Well, we talked to you last year. The official speed of the parade was going to be 2.5 miles an hour. Is that the same for this year?
Same speed this year as last year, yes.
Okay.
The parade will run 10 minutes longer, however, 2 hours and 10 minutes total.
Why is that? It's just more floats involved?
We were able to get a little more time on television for the nationwide audience. So the same number of units, but they'll be spaced a little farther apart.
Are you nervous about your first timing?
Oh no, we've got it well under control.
What time's the parade going to start?
8:34 from this intersection.
And it's going to go 2.5 miles an hour?
That's exactly right.
And what's the pace car this year?
You mean this? What do you mean? What's the space car?
There was a car.
Yeah, we have a pace car. It's the same kind of car as last year, and it will leave this point at 8:34 and travel at a speed of 2.5 miles per hour in order to set the official pace for the parade.
And what kind of a car is it?
It's an Oldsmobile.
It's a convertible, isn't it?
I believe it's a convertible.
Probably a convertible.
I hope so on a day like this, huh?
Yeah, right.
Boy.
Gee, I hope Al finds out about the pace car before next year.
Always a pleasure to see those guys
run the duty in his hands alone. And if he doesn't know about the pace car next year, nobody may call that Oldsmobile dealer and get the arrangements made.
That's right. They may have to settle for a Honda.
Oh, look at this.
It's
Here
a
comes the
hangover
bread and
float.
cheese we were promised.
This is incredible. It's really a bottle and some floured
A
cheese.
salute to leftovers. 2 huge bunches of goldenrod.
Yeah, a giant sushi roll wrapped in mums. I can't figure this one out at all.
This is features yellow carnation petals as the calcium propionate added to retard spoilage. And cooked crab depicted by cooked flowers.
That's the city of San Francisco who gave us that float, right? And that
Well, that
stall.
figures.
There's no
Always
way they
with
can
the
do it.
wine and the cheese and the bread and the just so bohemian.
Yeah, boy.
What a bore,
They've
huh?
got it made, huh? You know, the
Unreal
Jehovah's Witnesses don't have a float this year because they said the world would come to an end in their last float and they look like idiots.
That's right.
The People's Temple's float, of course, was tragically scuttled.
And the Synanon float is not here either.
No.
Right. That was going to be, as I recall, a giant rattlesnake.
Right, made out of mums.
Mums.
Yes, mums the word was their theme. And going into a giant mailbox.
The mailbox was made of Dusty Miller and tie leaves.
And a team of lawyers on both sides and
Waving.
motorcycles. Yeah.
It's a pity.
But
It's a real pity.
Oh, here's a one-armed...
This is from the Atlantic Richfield Company, fellas.
Oh, Mr.
Blackwell.
Good morning.
Glad you could
Good
make it.
morning.
Showed up.
How are you? These girls, there are 6 former Olympic champions on this float, and they're not wearing, I don't know if you've seen a dress I designed called the float, which is like a moo-moo, only without all that
extra
ticky Hawaiian stuff on it. But these girls are wearing something that looks very much like that. They're white. They're all in white.
Where are they suspended from? Where do they hang from?
They were riding on the float.
No, the drapes.
On
Where
the-
is
on the float,
the
meaning
dress?
the-
He's talking about the float. I mean, not the float
I was
that we're
talking about
watching. The float.
Oh,
dress.
you mean what held it up? I can't tell.
Is
That's
it more of
secret.
a shoulder drape or was it a bosom
That's for the
drape?
gals to know only, Mike.
All right. Take
They
the
look
mystery out of it.
wonderful. I'm glad to be here. This is a treat.
I think maybe we could go and
They don't
see
work.
how the people at home are doing in a kind of a one-on-one situation. We have an interview with a shut-in, a man who was not able to get out to the parade and probably never will be. Why don't we take it away, Bob Shapiro?
Here in Southern California, not every parade watcher is on Colorado Boulevard. Many a parade fan is gathered around a television set, not to mention our disabled citizens. 87-year-old Fred CADAVER has been in a wheelchair ever since he was born. And today, in the San Gabriel Rest Home, he's enjoying his 85th consecutive Rose Parade sitting down. Fred, how would you compare this year's parade to all those others you've seen?
It's good.
Well, the parade certainly has changed, though, hasn't it, since its early days?
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, it used to be in black and white, and then a few years ago, the fella came by here and installed the new parade.
Now, you've never been able to actually...
Stand up.
Well...
Yeah, I'm not laughing. It's no big joke for me.
What I mean is you've never attended a Rose Parade in person, have you?
No. Well, it used to be on the radio. You couldn't see it. That was an old setup they had. I think the Dumont network had just moved out, and they put the transmitter up on the hill. Of course, this was when I was younger, you understand. I wasn't born this old. I had no legs on me, but I was your age when I was born.
Well, Fred Holliday's aside, life must be pretty grim for a fellow like yourself sometimes. Rose Parade apart, what do you do to entertain yourself these days?
I paint pumpkins.
Oh, you paint pictures of pumpkins?
No, I paint them. How do you think they get red? The stalk?
I imagine so. On this New Year's morning, are there any other cadavers watching the Rose Parade elsewhere?
No. All others is either dead or unborn.
So you're alone?
Yeah, I'm a gay bachelor. No woman has caught me. I'm still playing a field.
Well, in your 85 years, I guess you've seen many a Rose Queen reign and go. You must have a favorite, huh?
Well, they've all been very, very pretty, especially the older ones. But I guess if there was a favorite, I'd have to say chocolate chip.
Well, I don't want to take too much time from a parade that even under the best of circumstances lasts only 2 hours a year. So...
and I've seen a lot of heartbreak in these parades.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for letting us share the first hours of the next year of the rest of your life.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry if I spit on your equipment.
Well, if you did, sir, thank you for raining on my parade. Robert Shapiro, Metro News at the San Gabriel Rest Home, returning you to Pasadena.
I want to thank all these Texas ladies for bringing all of their skin with them this morning.
They grow them big in Texas, don't they?
Yeah.
Of course,
Pretty
I'm
girl.
talking about the Pampas. This is the pride of
See the Pampas on that one over there?
This is the Pride of Pampa band from Pampa High School in Pampa, Texas. We wouldn't lie about that. Wouldn't make that
An
up.
overall winner at the 1977 St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dublin, Ireland.
That's why they're all dressed in green.
As you can probably tell, they're playing quite loud.
I've noticed something very strange. In every band, there's the same kid playing the clarinet in the first
Also,
line of the
you know what I
watch
noticed,
bar.
Mike? There are a couple of the girls walking by. You don't usually see it on TV with their hats, that had their hair up in curlers. I mean, come on.
Is that true?
Yeah,
I didn't notice
perfectly
that.
serious. Yeah.
They're dressed in green and yellow, which
This
I
may
think
be the-
is like a very harmonic
Well,
kind
Mr.
of
Blackwell, how
look.
do you feel about a woman going to a parade, especially if she's marching in it with her helmet on or not, in hair curlers? I mean, is that, I mean...
Total tick.
Yes.
Totally tick.
What about denim?
No, denim is out. I mean, I'm
Denim is
so
out.
glad. You know, I don't think you'll see anyone at this whole parade in the denim field.
I remember a couple of years ago we had a big denim
it
parade.
was everywhere. You would go to Jimmy's, because Jimmy's wasn't open 2 years ago. But if they had
Well, then I wouldn't go
people
there,
would have
actually.
been wearing denim into Jimmy's. I mean, come on.
I'm sorry.
It is.
Yeah.
But isn't that a statement in itself, Mr. Blackwell?
Oh, of course. But it's what is it saying?
Yeah.
What are you saying when you wear denim to Jimmy's? I'm saying I don't want to be here.
Couldn't you be just saying, let's leave?
Well, look here what's coming our way. If any of you have cameras, you should point them at your television sets right now, because this is the Eastman Kodak float. And this will come out better on TV in your camera than any other. It's designed that way. It's especially designed to be photographed off the TV screen.
It looks real, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks as though it's actually here in front of us, but of course it is.
It's a
a
giant
mock-up.
slide moving our way.
What is that made of, Harry? Those are lovely flowers. It's 13 stripes of red carnations and white mums, draped from a galaxy of 50 white mum stars. The deck is a tiered dais. You notice how the white mums Isn't that part of the Catholic Mass, Michael? What? Tiered dais? I don't know, Harry. Okay. Anyway,
I think
behind...
that's where they sit for a roast, isn't it? A very sad roast.
I think I went out for a broast. That's where they sit.
Broast, that's right.
Well, while this... I see. The president of the Tournament of Roses, Ralph S. Helpbringer. That is his real name. And there's Miss Liberty.
Oh, gosh, she's pretty.
And she doesn't look at all like she does, of course, in New York. She hasn't turned green yet. Ladies and gentlemen, the Tournament of Roses is more than a rose parade. It's also a sporting event of major proportions that occurs every year at about this time. And we cover that as well as the parade. Even though we can't cover the game, we can give you highlights and sidelights. And for that, we go now to Dave Swartz.
Thank you, fellas, and hello again, everybody. This is Dave Swartz, speaking of sports. And on every January 1st of every New Year's time, there's only one sport to speak of, and that's football. Or should it, on New Year's Day, be footballs? Item, history in the making department. Let's remember some of those great Rose Bowls past. 1927. 1934, 1948, and 1958. I could go on and on, but let's flash back up to now. UCLA versus Ohio State, the game the experts said couldn't happen here. But like Hitler's Germany, the game is just hours away. Item, inside scoop stuff, radio edition. Sometimes even I amaze myself. Your reporter has obtained exclusively a hotline phone number to Ohio State football coach Woody Not-So-Gabby Hayes. While he plays possum for the sports establishment, he's being a pussycat at the other end of my Dave Swartz exclusive phone. Clicker. Item, business expense. One toll call to Ohio State, Ohio, please. Purpose, to find out how the coach of the visiting team feels about his third annual visit to the Roses. Let's dial that oh-so-secret 800 number right now. And from mid-dial, a tip of the Dave Swartz thank you cap to Sports Insider MJ of Bakersfield, California, for the exclusive rights to Woody's secret number. That's one I owe you, Mickey. This is gonna be good, and it's gonna be exclusive. The Dave Swartz exclusive phone. This is Woody Hayes'.
The number you have dialed.
Yeah. Hello.
783.
Oh, I see what.
3.
Just let me get a pen.
2 8.
No, wait.
7.
No, don't give me that.
Has been changed to.
No.
2.
I've got it. All right.
4.
This pen doesn't
3.
work.
1.
One that works,
9.
please.
5.
People.
5.
All right, go ahead, honey. Shoot. Okay. Got the pen. All right. Hello. Hello. Okay, we better put Woody Hayes on hold. Put him on hold, will you? He's a busy man, but I'm busy too. And now let's get back to the celebrity gap.
Thank you, Dave. We'll get back to you.
This is the U.S. Marine Corps Band.
Oh, yeah. Noisy as hell, and we're ready to shout about it.
Playing something called the Moray Perth.
What?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, hello.
It's a loud mother. Loud. Very few people, though. Look at that. Probably the smallest loud band or the loudest small band in the country.
Well, that's what happens when you get rid of the draft.
I think a small number of Marines is probably louder than a small number of any other human.
Well, their slogan is, we're looking for a few good, loud men.
That's right.
So they got it. That band, incidentally, is formed each year for the express purpose, it says here, of marching in the Tournament of Roses parade. So when you wonder where your tax dollars are going, you're looking at it.
You know, it's funny. I read a report once that says 85% of any group of Marines you see have been sexually assaulted while in the Corps. Isn't that something?
Well,
the Corps is what? What their word for the latrine? Or
no, that's where they get assaulted, Harry.
Oh, the Huntington Sheraton Hotel here in Pasadena has presented a float entitled The Armchair Athlete, and here to give us his critical viewpoint on it is New York Magazine reviewer John Simon.
Thank you, Harry. In a virtual psalm for decadence, the Huntington Sheraton has mustered a particularly vicious assault on the unsuspecting parade watcher. We view a viewer viewing what is ostensibly a sporting event, the slack Neanderthal features of this Bubus Americanus, and I find myself wondering if it is too late to announce my citizenship. This is John Simon back by the moon.
boy, it's devastating.
Lucky there wasn't an actress on that float.
Doesn't he enjoy anything?
I would give him a Sudafed first of all and clear up that condition before I do anything else. Hey, those of you who want to do amyl nitrates, I'd say this is the time for your first popper, because this is a real pretty float.
Boy.
From the American Honda Motor Company. And this is the only float in the parade without a catalytic converter.
Yeah, the sky's the limit. That's part of the balloon weirdness.
3 gigantic hot air balloons sway back and forth through drifting clouds over miniature buildings, houses, and trees. The American Honda Motor Company's "The sky's the limit."
What do you think of the way
a nice statement?
The colors are working with each other there? I know
it's too much pastel.
Is it?
You know, I'm not a technical-minded person. I'm not looking at this on television, but it's too pastel.
But didn't you once say you can't go wrong with pastel?
Yes, but I was talking about separates. These are chrysanthemums, calendula, Vanda orchids, my favorites. I think a Vanda orchid in a lapel is such an elegant touch. You can't believe it. Dutch iris, gladiola, carnation roses, and green tea leaves. And those were the balloons, not the real balloons. They had real balloons, too. I want one. Can I get a balloon, do you think?
Yes,
we'll ask them.
That'd be nice.
Okay, I would like one.
Can Blackwell get a balloon?
Because if I go to Jimmy's this afternoon and don't have a balloon, then man will kill me.
They won't let you in.
They won't let me in.
When are you going to work the Mardi Gras this year, Mr. Blackwell?
What do you mean work?
Well, there was some talk about you being Grand Marshal of the Mardi Gras, just as a taste consultant.
I'm going to go down there. I'm going to... Oh, here's a girl being arrested.
Being arrested. This you won't see on your TV screens. Somebody was actually busted.
That's so
right
sad,
here.
you know. But if she just had put on a little makeup, I think that wouldn't have happened.
Well, you know, with a crowd of 2 million here, I mean, there's always going to be some girl who won't wear makeup.
I know, but you come here New Year's morning, and I mean, really, you owe it.
She looked like a hangover in a lot of ways.
You owe it to people.
Well, why don't we go out to the field while we have a moment, because I see we're getting signal that Kurt is out there with a very interesting interview.
Kurt is out hosting.
So, Kurt, to you.
Does that mean I'm on, or does that mean ready? Fellas, no World Series is complete without flowers. And the man who's supplying this year's parade with many of their foliage is a college student, 19-year-old Jason Palmer from Culver City, California. Jason, how'd you get into this business?
Kind of accidentally. I was a horticulture student at UC Davis, and somebody told me I could make a lot of money selling flowers in bulk.
Well, what's your actual favorite flower to grow?
Well, I don't do the actual growing anymore. I get them shipped from somebody in Brawley.
A great day for everyone. Back to the booth.
Horses are drooling, and one looks quite upset.
Well, I think that is the case. One of the horses is about to bolt and kill someone.
All right, well, we're very close to them, so...
it could be us.
We should be careful.
Oh, he is drooling.
He is drooling.
He is a nasty,
he is in a foul mood.
He
needs water.
He is
The horses get rabies?
No, but they do get frightened and hysterical.
And that's the drool?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the drool.
And they don't win any prizes by being frightened or hysterical.
The spittle was done in white Vanda orchids.
You know, every year I remark on the same thing. It's amazing how puny the floats look when you're up close. And I think that's part of their charm. Here's the Bank of America picnic float.
It's a giant bike.
From no matter what angle you see this float, it looks like it's going to tip over.
Yeah.
It's a sad...
Whoa, look out.
Well, it's all caught up in a bunch of branches that it's dragging along with it. I don't know why they let that continue.
And the theme is, get the rich off of our backs.
Oh, presenting the Royal Court.
Well, you know, you can look at these beautiful girls and
forever.
only dream about what's in their minds. But on a more realistic level, let's take a glimpse behind the scenes of a queen.
Hail, commoners! A new queen and her court have been chosen and throned. Let's relive in snapshots of dramatized sound Queen Diane Raymaker's Coronation Week 76.
Dear Scrapbook, what a day. We took our first official picture together as the Queen and her court. What a privilege to stand next to girls as lovely and charming as my court. Lori, Carol, Pam, Sherry, Peggy, and Debbie. Though it was 4 weeks ago, it seems like only 2 weeks ago when the chairman of the Queen and Court Committee talked to a group of us first arrivals. Imagine, he told us to relax. He's the one who could get fired.
Day one.
applications. Everyone filled out at least one. Some of the girls were so excited, they gave their birth dates as September 25, 1976. That couldn't be right.
Day 2.
Scrapbooks of previous courts helped to relieve the tension. After all, those girls survived, and so can we. I mean, who dies in a parade?
Day 3.
Of the 695 contenders for the throne, only 26 remain. Gee, I hope they lose.
Day 4.
Nervous? Of course not. I always vomit in my sleep.
Day 5. Relax,
said the chairman. But the waiting was such torture. Why young girls should be forced by peer pressure into competing against each other on the basis of looks alone is a reversion to Neanderthal tactics that would make any modern woman feel icky.
Day 5, later that night.
Oh, I'm sleepy. Big day tomorrow. I know. I'll get some sleep. Good night.
Day 6, the big day.
I still can't believe it. I'm the queen. I know it'll open a lot of doors in my chosen profession, cosmetology. But right now, I'm just happy to be more popular.
A royal scrapbook from Queen Diane. Truly the cream of queens.
Denver Devereaux Jr., are you the star of Star Wash, or are you Ian?
No, I can never remember his name, but the fat kid on What's Happened.
Oh, the guy who plays Rerun.
Rerun, right.
Is the star of Star.
And
What is he like?
He's such a gentle.
Is he a nice guy?
Now, is he a spaceman, or is he one of the washers?
Well, he's one of the washers. He's at the Star Wash. He's the Ragman. They call it Ragman. It's his character's name. My character's name is Cashier.
What was the? Could you tell us a little bit about the float that just went by from the city of La Cañada, Flint Ridge, horseplay?
Oh, horseplay. Oh,
I bet you know a little something about that, huh?
I can't. It was totally funded and built and decorated by volunteers. The city of La Cañada, Flint Ridge, entered its first combined float in the tournament of Roses.
What's it combined with?
Well, it's the hyacinth root combined with the devilish horse made of Rommel mums. The unfortunate rider has straw hair, a coat of blue ribbons, iris petals, pants of caladium, boots of black crowton, hat and a hat of onion seed and carnation petals.
I love onion seed. It is so underused in the parade. I don't understand
Star
why.
Wash.
Here you guys are. I've been looking for you all morning.
Oh, God, you arrived, Kurt.
Yeah, they had me out on the street or somewhere.
You did a wonderful job. I don't know whether you have any room. Can you sit down somewhere else? Maybe
can't even get to a
no, you don't have to get up. Oh, it's all right. Well, okay, I guess you can use
a little middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's beginning to wonder.
Kurt, have you had your morning?
Morning cup of cutty? No, somebody stole my thermos.
Oh, well.
You didn't have to keep it in a thermos, though, Kurt.
No real reason to. You don't need to keep it hot or cold. You just need to keep it.
Did you have a good New Year's?
Which I didn't.
Did you have a good New Year's Eve?
The same, Dave.
Same, huh?
Doing my homework, learning the names of the players of the Orange Bowl.
The Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl. And
One bowl.
It's going to be a great game. Great game for football.
You think so, huh?
Great day.
You think that the winner of this game will be number one in the country, or?
Winner of this game will be number one in this country. Was that what you asked me?
Yeah, well, that's more or less what I wanted to know.
No, unless Penn State loses.
Kurt, we wanted you to get something from the timekeeper. Did you cover the timekeeper? Did you? We thought you were going to host for us.
I was lost, guys. I'll tell you the truth. I was out there in a crowd, and I didn't have my little pink badge, which the guy forgot to give me. So I was just a spectator. And I sit here for a while. My feet hurt so bad, Dave.
Could you kind of keep it down, though?
Yeah.
What?
Here comes the All-American High School Band from an organization who needs no advertising. Kurt.
This sound thrills my blood.
Now, is this band made up of people who have won other contests? Do they all know each other? They all go to the same high school?
Prize
What
of
is
102 outstanding high school. I'll read it,
Oh,
Michael.
God.
I don't know the answer, but I'll just read it. 102 outstanding high school musicians who come from throughout the United States and the District of Columbia. Under the direction of Paul LaValle, the internationally renowned music director of New York's Radio City Music Hall. Each bandsman wears his own school uniform and then a McDonald's thing on top of it. So you can't see his own uniform.
Thank you.
Right now, it might be time for us to go down south. We have a reporter stationed about 50 miles south of here, and we may be getting an exclusive. And what's that, Gus? He's ready? Okay, let's switch right now to Barry Christworthy in San Clemente, California.
Here at Casa Pacifica, we may be about to get a rare glimpse of former President Nixon's New Year's Day, as Rabbi Baruch KORFF, a founder and currently sole member of the President Nixon Justice Fund, leaves Mr. Nixon's study. He's coming towards the Metro News Stereo News mic. Good morning, Rabbi, and Happy New Year to you, sir.
Well, good morning to you. I accept your greetings with, of course, a grain of salt because my denominational New Year, as you know, took place sometime in September. But we mustn't forget it is Mr. Nixon's New Year as well as yours, so Happy New Year.
All right, thank you, sir. Rabbi, is the former president watching the Rose Parade this morning?
Not only is he watching the parade, but the president's mind is so alert with thinking that he's writing down his observations about the festivities on paper for his memoirs. He said to me, and I'll quote him, quote, he thought this was the best parade of his entire retirement. This is, as you know, a very brave man. Don't forget, he used to be the president.
Is the parade affecting his mood at all?
Not at all, no. He still has a headache, and his arm is now getting stiff. This is not a well man. His wife, you know, is also in bad shape.
And still he watches.
Well, of course, that's the secret of his greatness. He never gets distracted. He has, as you know, 7 television sets in his library. 5 of them are tuned to the parade, and the other 2 are for the Sugar Bowl.
Rabbi, has he discussed with you this morning any plans to re-enter public life?
You know very well I can't comment on anything the president said to me of any interest. But I can tell you that this man's talents will not be wasted much longer. I do know that while watching the parade, what broke my heart was when they named as Grand Marshal of a parade as important as this, our old cowboy and his cowgirl wife, while a true leader sits upstairs in his rocking chair and waits to be asked to do that next year.
You mean Mr. Nixon would like to be Grand Marshal?
He feels it is his duty. I shouldn't say anything more about this. It will all come out in the dirty linen. Thank you, Barry. Thank you. That's all I can say of now. Right. I'm trying to get a cab to take me to Balboa.
All right. Thank you, Rabbi. From San Clemente, this is Barry Christworthy, Metro News, returning you to Parade Central in Pasadena.
Oh, we have a special guest with us here, Mr. Garner Ted Armstrong. We are in his neighborhood right now. Garner.
Fellas, you're right across the street from Ambassador College.
Sorry if we woke you up, Garner.
Well, fellas, I'm going to be commenting a little bit on the religious floats that are in this year's parade. It's a great parade for religion.
It
3 religious floats, up from 2 last year. God is getting back into the parade business.
Yeah. Well, you know, New Year's Day, if I'm not mistaken, started as a religious holiday of some sort, didn't it?
I think almost everything did when you get right down to it. If you look in the Bible, you can find a religious connection with almost anything. At least that's been my success.
If you look in the program, you can too.
Every Osmond who was ever born just went by.
These are the Osmonds, the Mormon Church. Of course, they accentuate the importance of the family, even though they don't believe in biblical prophecy. But they do believe in more than one wife. And how better to celebrate the family than with a couple of old ladies? A lattice porch was the scene for the Mormon Church's float. Next year, of course, they're going to have a much bigger float. They're going to depict everything owned by the Mormon Church. It should be about 5 or 10 floats. And fellas, we hope to catch up with them someday out at Ambassador College if people just give a listen to the World Tomorrow every once in a while.
Thank you. We'll be tuning in tomorrow.
World Tomorrow, but the parade today, huh?
Thank you, Garner. You'll be back, won't you, when
I'll be
religion
explaining the
again.
Lutherans.
Oh, look at Canada.
Canada. What are they doing here?
Boy, it's real small, isn't it? That's a float done entirely in tundra.
Yes, and the pansy will play hockey on it. But oh my goodness, here come the mounted police.
They've been mounted by some avid police collectors who did this with great care.
I understand that the chloroform does not hurt at all.
There they are. You can see them in the back of your screen. If
The
you're watching
world's
on television.
sleepiest police force, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, and they get a big hand. Everybody likes these people because nobody's ever been beaten up by them.
It's
And
true.
they're good to- they're
I
good
have
to-
been in Montreal, and you're not afraid of these people.
They're good
because
to their huskies as well.
They just look like costume jewelry or something.
They're like stage cops.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you seat us in the balcony, please?
It's true.
But they get a big hand.
Oh, don't they,
Let's
though?
listen to that hand. Hey, while the horses are here, fellas, you can
Hey,
just keep...
Sue-Ann.
Sue-Ann Langdon?
Sue-Ann Langdon.
Buddy
Oh,
Hackett
I
once
see.
referred to as having the cutest tuchus in show business. I'm just passing that
And he
on.
should know.
Yeah.
These are the Devils.
I'll say. The guy in the turtleneck gave me the eye.
From Huntington High School in Huntington, New York. Very near where I went to school.
Me too. Did you go to school on the island?
At times. The Blue Devils. These are the Blue
It
Devils.
was all school.
Look
I've
at
heard.
now. This is interesting because this doesn't really look like a school band uniform. This looks like something much more subdued. It's a black and a very, I would call it, that shade of blue would be like a dark powder.
Now, what are the coats are navy or are they black?
Now
Or
the
is there-
coats look like black from here. I can't tell, Mike. They're navy. You're
That
right.
was
They're
always
navy.
my biggest
and they're not
color
really.
problem.
They're not really coats. They're like shirt jacks.
They're Eisenhower jackets.
No.
No?
Now the Eisenhower jacket didn't have that tuck.
That's right. It was more a button affair, wasn't it?
And these are double vented, which the Eisenhower wasn't.
Yeah.
The Eisenhower had no vents.
And it was the Eisenhower jacket was nowhere nearly as noisy as this jacket, whatever it is.
It's a very quiet look.
Yes, it was a quiet look. Well, he was a very quiet man. He wasn't much of a president, but he was a hell of a jacket. That's what they used to say about Eisenhower.
I think the jacket would have been reelected 2 more times.
And speaking of music, a very, very old friend of ours.
Hey, look who's here, Harry.
Tony
Gee, it's
Lamone,
good to
ladies
see
and
you.
gentlemen, Vendetta Records recording artist. And Tony,
Good to see you. Nice to say hello again on another January 1 from right here from Pasadena. How are you?
New Year's
How are you
Day.
guys?
How's it been going?
Not real good. Harry had a little trouble.
You look a little different than
Well,
you
I
did.
underwent some cosmetic surgery, Harry, to have the old the ears flattened back a little bit. Now that the hair is getting short again on
Sure,
man.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And something kind of didn't take. My right ear got a little infected. And had to take it off, but I'm right now. I'm shooting for another ear, a prosthetic device, a KORFF ear.
That's who used to
It's
make
a
shoes out of.
little
Used to make the
expensive.
shoes, yeah.
It's a little expensive to have it crafted just right. I get a wooden one with what I got now, but you got to paint them every year, you
Sure,
know. And,
sure.
But
Well, gee, I had no idea. Have you been doing a lot of clubs? And,
the booking's been kind of dropping off, Harry. It's really
like the year.
Yes.
Well, I suppose it is kind of funny.
I don't mean to
but
joke about it. I
you see,
really-
when I play at a club, a lot of times people don't like to see that. Don't like to see any kind of deformity on a person. You know what happened to Monty
Yeah, that is a
Clift's
strange
career.
thing I've noticed.
No, I can
Yeah.
understand it though.
And so,
Well,
of course, when I
matter
turn
of
and don't face the audience, or face them with my good ear, I can't hear the band, and so I do have a couple of problems with bookings. That's why I'm here. One reason I'm here to play my record again, Pasadena, which I bring out every year, put on the market every year. We'll be selling the singles at various stands around the parade.
Gee, it's red this year. You got it on red styrene
Red,
this year.
red.
Was that your
plastic.
idea? Or what?
Yeah, I thought go for something a little different this year, and
Mr. Mandelbaum out at Vendetta Records paid for
God
it.
bless him. He's stood by me no matter what's fallen off.
Hasn't he been kind of like a first father?
He's
to
been
you?
like a first father to me. I never knew my actual
know.
father, and he's been really something. And of course, you get a little bonus this year. You get a a little special kind of a promotion gimmick.
Let me take a look at that.
It says a little button. I'm giving you here. Both of you can have one
great.
here.
Thank you.
Great.
It says Happy New Year on it. And right underneath it says Pasadena, Tony Lamone Vendetta 90604B. That's the
model number of the record.
Yeah.
Well, great, Tony. It's always our pleasure.
Anytime you could give it a spin, guys, I'd really appreciate
It's
it.
a song that kind of sums up our feelings about the day, so we're always glad to hear it. Tony Lamone for a good cause.
Pasadena, city Pasadena, restaurants never close. What a way to be. There's peace and plenty implied in her name. There's love and hatred for every guy and every dame. The brass is cleaner. People wear nice clothes in Pasadena, L.A.
Pasadena, 20 miles from sea. And every year, a queen. Thank you. When Pasadena dresses up for me, well, you know what I mean. Parades of roses, how soon we forget. And children's noses are pressed against the safety net. No grass is greener, land of spades and hoes in Pasadena. She's a my bambina in Pasadena, I'd like to go in and do that last note again.
It sounds better every year, Tony.
Yeah, well, art
You're
is
so
art.
critical.
You got to leave it there. Yeah, well, I hear it a lot more than you guys do.
What, do you play it more often than once a year?
Huh? Oh, sure.
That's a new one on me. I didn't know that.
Well, it's an interesting approach. There's a gal who calls herself Miss Fiesta because this float is basically nothing more than a plug for another parade. You'll find that the few floats in the parade are as crass as to just say, well, if you like this, come to something that doesn't look like this. This is the torch in the middle of this float symbolizes the annual Fiesta Flambeau parade held in San Antonio, Texas, where all the floats are on fire. The original purpose of the Rose Parade was to prove to people back east that the climate in Pasadena was warm enough that you could grow flowers in January.
Now, a lot of these flowers are hothouse flowers.
Yeah, they're not grown here at all, and they're placed in cold storage, and then they bring them out from warehouses. So it just proves that everything loses its point, given enough time.
Yeah. Hey, look at this. This is what I like.
From Sierra Madre comes a float entitled Tally Ho the Fire Plug, and to give us a bird's eye view, John Simon.
Thank you. This lumbering behemoth of a parade will lurch us forward with an allegedly comic flavor, but don't bother waking up. Despite this initially fetching premise of foxhounds and fire plug, a classic situation, the float generates no actual amusement of any pedigree, and at the risk of seeming dogmatic, this is garbage.
Thank you, John.
All right, while we have a band go by, let's get an update on the Rose Bowl picture.
Yes.
So let's go from our position here to Dave Swartz.
Once again, from the Sportsman's Lounge of the Pasadena Turnpike Lodge, Dave Swartz speaking of sports. Item Rose Bowl update. This reporter has just successfully placed an exclusive long-distance telephone call to the personal hotline of Ohio State football coach Woody Hayes. Let's talk to Woody now. Woody Hayes. Hello, Woody. This is Dave.
Mr. Crane with your Ohio State University Athletic Information Bureau reported hotline
hello?
for PM release, December 31st.
Okay.
Today's headline, Woody says there's no tomorrow.
Woody.
Start cue, there is. End cue, no tomorrow. Time, 12 seconds at the beat.
Hello, how do you... this is Dave Swartz call.
There is no doubt in my mind that UCLA is a different team now than the one we beat in October.
That's
so
right,
we're
in October.
Not taking it for granted. Woody, it's the only game in town, and as to who's going to be national champion, we'll know tomorrow.
Right, who can...
That's 30 for today. Next pre-recorded feed, AM tomorrow.
Hello.
This is Lester Crane from the OSU News Bureau, wishing you a happy holiday.
Happy holiday to you too, Woody. Well, there you have it, sports fans. Woody Hayes calls it for you a toss-up. But like the man in the striped shirt with the whistle say, that's football. Item, off to the game department. I don't know about you fans, but I have tickets in the end zone. This is Dave Swartz, speaking of sports.
Garner Ted Armstrong is with us again to...
Fellas, this music is just about the most rousing thing I can imagine hearing on a New Year's Day. And you know, the Bible predicted that the start of a new year would be the start of a new life.
Right, does it say anything about a parade in the Bible?
There shall be parades of worshipers, David.
Oh, that's right. I remember reading that chapter.
There shall be worshipful parades of the Lord.
It says,
and of course, Bible prophecy, a lot of people think it's made up or mythical. It's as true as you and me sitting here right now. I wish I could take you across to the college and show you the $4 million auditorium.
Well, maybe afterwards.
That was prophesied in the Bible. Matthew and Luke, both of them.
Thank you, guys.
Then it was $2,000 auditorium because it was before inflation.
Well, that was before inflation, of course.
Yeah.
But that's not the point.
Yeah.
You don't go to the Bible for dollar figures.
No.
Garner, as long as we got you here, what was the trouble you had with your own organization there?
Well, I don't like to talk about it too much, but I was giving some personal counseling to a worshiper.
Ah.
And my father caught me at it.
Well.
So for a couple of years, I was wandering out in the wilderness, a prophet without honor in his own land.
Do you mean literally wandering in the wilderness?
Well, I mean, I was locked out of the college. But
so you were in the parking lot?
Yes. So to speak.
Well, you still haven't lost your sense of humor.
Well, you know, the Bible says that thou shalt have humor for the troubled times. And there's no reason why one should approach troubles with a sour countenance. Or incontinence.
There's more truth than humor in that, I'll tell you.
Well, there's no humor.
Yes, in that.
Is it time for me to talk about this float?
Yes, it is. Garner, would you, if you please? The religious point of view.
All right, this is Dr. Robert Schuller's first float in the parade, and many people are familiar with his drive-in church. I certainly wish I'd thought of that idea some 22 years ago when he first put the thing up in Fullerton or wherever it is. I thought he was crazy, to tell you the truth. Garden Grove, actually. But it seems he's got a good thing going here. Faith, Hope, and Love is the theme. And Schuller's an interesting fella because he's not a charismatic, actually, but he does believe in heavy use of television.
Yes, and there seems to be some bearded fellow caught in the float.
My guess about that fellow is that he is a depiction of the Lord on headset. Now, there's the cross here. This is the...
Oh, yeah. What does that represent?
That represents...
a cross.
The cross, yes.
Crucifix.
That's the religious thing.
I was trying to shade my eyes to get a better view of it.
Shave your eyes?
Shade my eyes.
The Bible says the Lord may ask you to shave your eyes.
Yeah.
Look out.
Where's that?
It's in there somewhere.
No,
all right. Well, anyway, Dr. Robert Schuller, this is his first time in the Rose Parade. He didn't win anything, but he's got on national television.
Which is kind of like winning, isn't it?
Yes. He doesn't believe in transubstantiation, incidentally.
Well, thank you, Garner.
All right, thank you.
Here come the San Diego County Matadors. Or something. No, Spring Valley, I'm sorry.
Boy, there's a fat girl with a baton.
Boy, isn't there?
It's kind of... No, I don't mean that.
She's very good.
She's very
great.
good.
I mean, obviously...
She'd have to be.
She's not there on looks.
It's strange, though. You wonder how much illusion is there. If you see a fat girl with a baton, you assume she's good because otherwise how would she get in the parade?
Right. These little matadors are cute.
Yes, and underage.
And some are girls.
Karen Eiler, who's the top winner from the, well, she's the majorette. She's in the top 20 in the National Majorette Championship.
Wow.
Now, aren't you sorry you called her fat?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You girls out there want to lose weight, forget about baton twirling. Only your fingers get thin.
It's good for the muscles, though.
Yeah.
They sure can swing those capes, though, can't they?
Yeah.
Something about these capes, they're all pink on the inside.
They're turning around very slowly, for those of you not watching television. Then they turned around in the opposite direction very fast.
It's like they all made the same mistake at one time.
It's a nice effect. Now there's marching in place, so something bands have done with great frequency here this morning.
Spring Valley.
Yeah, must be beautiful there, and quiet this time of year with the band out of town.
Okay, that'll be enough out of you.
Yeah.
We heard there were going to be floats here.
Come on, move it.
Leave your picture with the girl.
I'm getting, my temper's getting a little short, fellas. I don't care. Move it, come on.
All right, enough of you.
Let's go.
Oh, they're turning around on us now.
Oh,
Come on, go forward.
I thought they were going to go back home for a minute.
They're just standing here,
Now
making
they
noise.
slow down the tempo. Get out of here.
We've seen this.
Play another song at least, please. Anybody know Proud Mary? Proud Mary.
Mustang Sally would be a refreshing change.
Yeah. Mustang Ranch, right?
Must I hear this?
While they're standing here blowing their brains out, maybe we should go to our own correspondent, Robert Shapiro, who has an interesting sidelight on the parade.
Ever wonder why, year after year, the Rose Parade returns to Pasadena? It's not simply out of habit, as the mayor of a nearby community has just found out. Here at our Metro News microphone this morning is the mayor of Palmdale, California, Mayor Marshall G. Sitcom.
Couldn't have picked a better day for it, could have they, Bob?
No, they haven't, Mayor. But I understand that your enjoyment of the parade this morning is tempered by the fact that it's not being held up your way.
Well, Bob, I'd be lying if I was to tell you that I wasn't having a lousy time, because watching all this splendor and pomp, I can only think of how much more beautiful this parade could have been if it had been held in the beautiful community of Palmdale, which, as you know, is the gravel capital of California.
Yes, sir. Well, a lot of our listeners may not know, though, that you actually made overtures to the Tournament of Roses committee to move the parade into the high desert.
High desert? Oh, Palmdale, yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, we made a firm cash offer to have the parade moved to a more accessible location, not only for the citizens of California, but for the citizens of the world.
Yes, sir.
You see, when our intercontinental jetport is built, and we've already financed the planning stages, and the parade, of course, wouldn't hurt that one bit, then people in Paris, for instance, would be 4 hours away from the Rose Parade. And right now, of course, I get a lot of people asking me, why should I leave Paris to go to Palmdale? And I haven't been to Paris, but if it's half as beautiful as Palmdale, I wouldn't want to leave it either.
No, sir, neither would I. Incidentally, you mentioned a cash offer. What kind of money was your group talking about?
Well, the civic group in the community had raised about $3 million, Bob, when we thought we might buy the Giants.
The baseball franchise.
I don't want to give them any free publicity. The thing fell through. So we had the funds. We asked ourselves, what else does Palmdale need to get people away from Paris? And the obvious answer is an event that is beautiful as well as non-controversial, that needs plenty of room. You must realize that when the parade was first conceived, it was small enough to fit into Pasadena. But times change, Bob, and the Rose Parade in Pasadena is like the little boy who wears his mother's dress. It's just too big for him.
Well, with all that going for you, Mayor, why do you think your offer wasn't accepted?
Well, the network said they wouldn't lug their equipment out to the boondocks if the parade was moved. Boondocks, I love that word. That was their expression. I don't even know what a boondock is. We're totally an inland city. There's no docks of any kind. Marvelous hotels, though.
Yes, sir.
But I don't think the networks were the true stumbling blocks. They seemed open to compromise, but the people who run Pasadena, the city fathers or the bosses or whatever they want to call themselves,
yes, sir,
they're very selfish people, Bob. They're not like you and I. They wanted the parade to start and end in one place, and neither of them was Palmdale. Now, how can you negotiate with people like that?
Well, I don't really know, sir, but I gather then that you're not optimistic about your chances of success for next year's Rose Parade.
Bob, I'm a realist, and I'd be kidding you if I didn't say so. We certainly won't turn our backs on the Rose Parade people if they come begging with their tails between their legs, but I don't think they've got the guts to do that.
No, sir.
So we're looking to the future, Bob. We have the financing almost completed for the planning stage of our year-round multi-purpose sports facility, the Palm Dome. It won't be too long before people from Paris are flying in to see the Super Bowl in Palmdale. But I'd give everything a good 10 years.
Well, so for the moment, the Rose Parade marches on, but stays put. But who knows? 10 years from now, I could be saying, Robert Shapiro, Metro News from the Rose Parade in Palmdale.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
What's going by here right now is
Oh, my goodness.
a well-built black man.
Mr. Blackwell, now the man is only wearing green trunks. He's probably wearing less than anyone.
Green trunks and a very dark skin. It's an interesting way to go. because
Yes,
I would have gone red or blue. The boxing look.
Oh,
No, not the skin. The skin is beautiful. It's oiled.
Well, Mr. Blackwell,
That was the Santa Monica float.
What is
A day at the beach, and the city of Santa Monica. I owe them so much money right now on parking tickets. I don't even want to talk about it.
What about your dog? Does your dog still owe money too?
They put me in jail because of my dog.
I remember
Mike.
that.
It's a nice jail.
I like to bring it up, though.
It's a nice little jail.
You
Actually,
handle it so
the
well.
jail looked nicer than the float.
Well, Denver Devereaux Jr., I would appreciate it if you could tell our listeners a little bit about the
I was just
sweepstakes.
picking up a little money shining.
Tell us what's in
Star Wash?
No, tell us what was in the float, the Edison
Oh, the float that went by?
Yeah.
The Thomas Alva Edison Foundation celebrates its 100th anniversary with the invention of the light bulb. Featured is the statue of Thomas Edison, covered in silver gray Dusty Miller leaves.
No, why can't they clean the leaves?
I don't know.
Jeez, they have all night to prepare, and they're dusty leaves.
There's
What is
roses,
this?
azaleas, daffodils, iris, tulips, and lilies. Lilies. The garden is enclosed by simulated granite columns of silver leaf and silver dollar eucalyptus leaves.
I heard a rumor, Denver, apropos to the filming of Star Wash, that was the first feature to be done off of cue cards. Is that true?
Where it's a press agent's dream, really. The problem is so many in the cast are so busy with their other careers. Most of them are budding TV personalities. And
budding into what?
Well, they're budding into Hollywood Squares.
Oh, I see. And there's kind of like an art, rhythm and blues and space soundtrack.
Yeah, it's you know George Clinton?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Funkadelic himself.
Mr. Funkadelic, Pollicut, all kinds of, he has all kinds of names, and he always sounds the same. You can always count them. It's like General Foods.
Mm-hmm.
So,
General Music.
But he's written us a wonderful score using no human beings, all synthesizers. And
wow.
It's really something. Star Wash, it's going to be really big, and all these special effects are Japanese.
Tiresome Quebec, it says.
No, tourism.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That French gets me so confused.
Look, there are fumes coming out of this. The exhaust pipe is on our side, and we are seeing fumes from the Quebec float. Now, what they're doing is they're asking people to leave California because of the smog and go to Quebec, and then they come here and create smog with the float.
That Canadian fume is something special, too.
It's the worst.
Smells like Canuck dust to me.
Yeah, or Demorier's.
Torrance, here comes their float. There's a kind of a Torrance quality to this part of the parade.
This is going to quash any rumors of feud between Smokey and Woodsy Owl. They are together. They seem to be enjoying each other's company.
They look happy, don't they?
Yeah.
Smokey's wearing purple pants? Please, pardon me.
Oh.
No, wait a minute. That's wrong. Wrong.
Something wrong?
Wrong. No.
It's not parade?
No, I mean, Johnny Horizon looks fine. A Pendleton shirt is okay, for a morning. But Smokey the Bear in purple pants.
And no shirt.
Is that magenta or violet? It's violet, which makes me violent. I don't want to say that, but
well,
it's
why
true.
is it that the black man with the good physique could get away with the brown?
Green.
The
He wore
green made the brown work.
Yeah, green brings out the brown.
So you're saying that the purple fights the brown in some way.
It's a battle. It's a civil war. I mean, what are we talking about here? It's like a Monday night at the Olympic Auditorium.
I wish I could put my finger on things like you can.
I beg your pardon. From the Dr. Pepper Company comes Pepper Upper, and maybe to pepper them down a little bit, a critic at large, John Simon.
This is larcenous, really. I find it difficult to retain my semi-continental good manners when faced with an atrocity of this magnitude. Perhaps if the float had moved faster somehow, if it were not seemingly so anchored in the doldrums of its own ennui, it might have had some redeeming, it might not have had the same noxious effect, but one begins to wish for something along the lines of severe eye damage to save one from this assault. Thank you.
Good deal.
Once again, he wasn't too thrilled with it. I wonder, is that a qualified pan?
I would say that's a qualified rave.
That's a mix. That's a mix from him,
Was it a mix?
No.
It sounded like from scratch to me.
Well, if it sounds like from scratch,
box, right?
It's from scratch.
It's from scratch.
It's a rollicking soccer game. I don't know what he didn't like about it. This was made with a flour called gypsophila.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's right here.
I thought that was a fear of fortune tellers.
A love of fortune tellers.
Thank you.
I don't know much, but I know that. California Parade of Champions, sponsored by the Realtor. What a champion he is. He sells your home and makes a profit and then sells it again, and it gets more expensive, and everybody has the good life.
You always had a way with words, and I'm glad to see that hasn't lost.
It's the same way with words, Dave.
faced with an empty street with only the promise of Indians to come.
This band is called the Redskins. There are no Indians in this band. And Jay Silverheels and his people should be filing charges against this parade.
This is the Redskin band. They make so much noise. I wish the Redskins had gotten into some postseason bowl because...
It'd be pretty hard for them to be in a postseason bowl. They're from Tulare High School.
You know, the Redskins marching band motto is, of course, the only good arrangement is a dead arrangement.
At 2.5 miles an hour, they're playing.
I think it's about time for a parade to waltz. I think we need a 3-4 parade. Oh, it is wonderful. My breath is gone, fellas. My breath is virtually gone.
Well, I'm not surprised.
My metabolism is at a standstill, and I feel sick. I am that impressed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the last entry in the parade.
People are ready to go home.
And, ooh, the city of La Mirada really went cheap this year.
They got an airport limousine.
They have an airport bus coming into your screen. No, we're not going to get a shot of it.
They have a clothing bag hanging up in it to symbolize...
All right, let me describe this for you. It's a Dodge Sportsman or an Econoline, some kind of red and white van.
City of La
Mirada. They didn't cover it with flowers, so it's not an official entry, but that man is just as proud as if he was on a real float.
Made entirely of steel alloy and glass
and
tires. Various kinds.
People seem to be headed towards us in an angry fashion.
A strange, angry rush.
We better get a move on before they start.
This is the crowd scene coming up, and this is where people can get killed. So we'll...
I'm going to take my watch off the table.
Kurt has departed from our booth and is on his way to the Rose Bowl game, but before he goes, we thought we might go to him for some closing thoughts as the host of this year's parade.
You know, a very wise man once said, 2 hours worth of memories can equal a lifetime of regrets. Well, I'm not a philosopher, but I am a sports host. And the memories we've had this morning make me think that the most valuable player in this parade is the audience. Oh, I know they're not made of flowers, but without 2 million people on the streets of Pasadena, these flowers would still be alive. Happy New Year, everybody.
That was the Rose Parade. Didn't you notice the Rose Parade? We've seen all the floatists, we're glad that we stayed. We hope we get paid, but stranger things have happened at the Rose Parade. At the 86th Annual Rose Parade.